Hello friend, this is your 300-liter vacuum emulsifying mixer, and now I will tell you how to use this machine step by step. When we shipping this machine, we will dismantle this vacuum emulsifying mixer, and we will mark the number. Here we have numbers. You should assemble the vacuum emulsifying mixer according to the same numbers. When you finish the assemble, you should connect to your factory power to use this machine. And you can open this cabinet. And then you may check inside. Here are the L1, L2, L3 wire. This one is the neutral wire and the ground wire here. You should connect these 5 wires. And then you can see here is the other wires. We also mark the number on it. You may check. And then you may check this one is the Siemens and the Schneider components here, the Delphi components. You may check. And the Delta inverter. And here also are the wires. Here we also mark the number inside it. And then here you may check. There are 2 pipes. And then this one is the tap water inlet pipe. If you equip it with a valve, you should make sure this valve is open all the time, because if you do not open this valve, the vacuum pump, the homogenizing function will not work. And this one is the water outlet pipe. We suggest that you should make this pipe like transparent to observe the water comes out here. And then you may check the here inside. This one is the vacuum pump. And then you may check these 2 pipes directions. And then this is the transparent pipe for cooling down the homogenizing function. And then here you may also check these 2 transparent pipe is for cooling down the homogenizing function here. And then this one, you may check here, is the water outlet pipe. And this one is the water inlet pipe. Here you may also check we equip a valve here. When you need to let the water comes into the jacket, you should open this valve. Also, you may check this valve's function is you can open it and then let the material discharge from here. And this one is also the same function to this. This is used to let the water come into jacket, and this one you can just release the water inside the jacket. And you may check this too is the heating rod, and then I will tell you how to use the electric heating. You may check here are the 2 heating rods here. When you need to use the heating function, first of all, keep this valve open all the time. Let the tap water inside it. Open this valve to let the tap water inside the jacket. When this jacket is full of water, the water may come outside from here. And then you may see the water will come outside through here. When the water comes outside from here, it means that this jacket is full of water, and then you can use the heating function. And then you can turn off this water inlet valve. And then we can test it now. Let's open this valve. The water will come inside to the jacket. And then you may check here, the water now comes out. It means that the jacket is full of water. And then you can close this valve. And now you may check these are the cover accessories, and now I will introduce them one by one. Here is the work glass light. You can turn on or turn off the work glass lights on the PLC panel, you can turn on it to see clearly the material situation inside the tank. This one is the CIP spray ball. You can connect a soft pipe here and then open this valve to clean the tank inside. And this one is the breathing pot. It is used to release the vacuum when you don't want the tank under the vacuum situation. And this one is the ingredient hopper. When you need to add some ingredients into the tank, you can open this valve. And then you may check this one is the material inlets. You can see here we equip you a pipe. Here, you can use this pipe to suck the materials from the water tank and oil tank here. And then you can see here is the manhole, and we equip you the scraper to scrap the water mist to see clearly the material inside the tank. And here are the vacuum pressure gauge. You may check the pressure here. And this one is the vacuum valve. When you want to use the vacuum function, you should make sure all the other valves for the cover accessories are closed. These manholes are closed too. And then you can turn on this valve to use the vacuum function. And then you may check these are the water tank equipped with the disperser and the oil tank equipped with disperser here. And also you may check this one is the temperature probe to detect the main tank's temperature. And this homogenizer is the bottom homogenizer equipped with ABB brand. And here you may check this one is the water tank disperser and the oil tank disperser is all the ABB brand here. And then we have the electric heating rod and then the temperature probe you may check here. And here it will detect the temperature of the water tank and oil tank. And then for the oil tank and water tank, our engineer has already put the thermal oil, that means the heat transfer oil inside the jacket of these two tanks. So you don't need to put the water inside these two tanks jacket. You can directly use the heating function of these two tanks. Remember, do not put the water inside these two jackets, otherwise the tanks might have safety problems. And now you may check this is the PLC control panel of the vacuum emulsifying mixer, and now you can check here are 3 lights and the alarming and the emergency stop button. You can spin this stop button when the machine is going wrong. And then here you may check the PLC screen is Siemens, and then this is the home page. And then you can choose language Chinese and English here. Let's test it in English. And if you want to change language, just press the flag here. And then about the main port monitoring, you may see here is about the mixer, the speed setting. Here you can set the speed like the 50. And then this is the actual speed display and the actual current. And this is the time setting. You can set the time here, 2 minutes. And then this is the remaining time. When you open this function, this remaining time will display. And then here is the same about the homogenizer. You can set the speed here, 2000. And then the actual speed, actual currents of the homogenizer, and then the time setting. You can also set the time like 1 minute. And the remaining time. And this is the turn on and turn off function of these two mixer and turbo homogenizer. About the time setting, like the mixer, if you set like 5 minutes, when the time is arrived to 5 minutes, this mixing function will stop automatically, and it's the same to the homogenizer. And you may check this is the actual temperature. It will display here. Now the main tank's temperature is like 23.3 degrees Celsius. And then this is the heating temperature. You can set the temperature you want here, like the 80. And this is the temperature calibration. If the temperature is the actual display is not what you want, you can calibrate the temperature here. Now you can check here. And then this one is the actual pressure. The actual pressure now display the main tank's pressure, and then it's minus like 2.3 kPa, and then you can set the pressure upper limit here like the 85, at the minus 85. And then for the pressure lower limit, you can set like minus 50. And here for the heating functions, turn on and turn off, and the vacuum function turn on and turn off. And then here we can also see the diagram of the vacuum emulsifying mixer. It's down and reset means that if you want to tilting down the material, you can use the down function. And you make sure that when you use the hydraulic up and down function, you should turn on this reset number and then make sure the tank is on the correct place. And then this one is for the hydraulic up and hydraulic down start and stop function. And this work light is for turn on and turn off. And then we can check the temperature. We can check the oil water pulse monitoring for these two tanks. And then you can see the speed is setting like the 1440, and then you can just set the time setting here like the 5 minutes for the oil pots, like the 3 minutes for the water pots. And then this is the remaining time is the same as the main tank. 9 of the turn on and turn off button of these two tanks, and the actual temperature here now is displayed. And the heating temperature setting, you can also set here, like you may set like 40. And this one like the 75 if you want. And this is also the temperature calibration to calibrate the temperature of the water tank and oil tank, and the turn on and turn off function. Now you may check the diagram here. And the temperature trend, you may check the temperature of the main tank, oil tank, and water tank. You can see we have different colors to present it here. And then you may check the alarm inquiries. This alarm inquiry will tell you what is wrong with this machine. You can check here, date, time, status, and the alarm test will tell you what is going wrong of this machine. And if you fix the bug of this machine, you can push this reset button of it. And then let's go back to the home page. And now we can test the machine's function step by step. And then first we can test the vacuum function. Now we already set the pressure of the vacuum like the minus 85 kPa, and the pressure lower limits the minus 50 kPa. And then we can check the valves. You may check these valves closed, 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 and closed. And also you may check this manhole is correctly closed. And then you can use this vacuum valve to use the vacuum function. When you use the vacuum function, make sure you open this valve first, and then open the buttons of the vacuum pump on the PLC panel secondly. And now we can test the vacuum function. Open this valve. And then open the PLC panel vacuum pump function. Now you may check the pressure now is changing. There water comes here. So check the PLC screen. The actual pressure is also changing too. And also now the pressure. The vacuum function will stop automatically when it arrived like the -85. And then now the pressure is going down. You may check here. And then you can see you set the pressure low limit is -50 kPa. If this pressure is now under the is now changing, and when this pressure is like going down to the -80, no -50 kPa, just like you set here, the vacuum function will start working again. You will check here. And then if you want to keep this maintained onto the vacuum stage, you can just now turn off the stop button here. And then the pressure you keep here, stop. And then let's turn off the vacuum valve. And then now the pressure of this main tank is almost like -78.2 kPa. Okay, and now we can use the material inlet to suck the materials from the water tank and oil tank. Put the pipe inside the tank here, and then you can open the valves to suck the materials. You may check here. The water now is coming down to the main tank. And also you may check here. You may spin it to watch. And you can turn off it when you don't need to use this function. And then if you don't want to use the vacuum function, you can release the vacuum. Here, you can open this breathing port to release the vacuum, but you should make sure all the other valves are closed. Here, you may check. Also here are closed. And then you can use the breathing port to release the vacuum. You may check here. Now the vacuum is released. Okay, and now we can test the missing function, like the speed setting here. We have the maximum, like the 65 speed, and the minimum speed here. Can check like 65. And then the time setting here, 1 minute to set. And then turn on the missing function. And this is the confirm. You should make sure that the main tank is on the correct place, in the reset place. And then you can make sure yes. And then you can use the missing function. You may check here. And also you can check the actual speed, actual current here. And when this missing time is arrived to what you set, it will stop automatically. And then we can stop manually. Okay, now we can use the hydraulic up function and test it. Sorry, you may check now the tank is slowly hydraulic up. And now we can test the homogenizing function. Set the speed line maximum is 3000 here. Can set here, and then the time can also set like 2 minutes. Now we can test it, turn on it. Now you may check the homogenizing function is working. And the actual speed is now 3000, and the actual current here. And it's the same of the missing function. If you set like 2 minutes, when the time is arrived 2 minutes, it will stop automatically. And then now we can manually turn off it. And now the homogenizing function is stopped. And now we can test the dumping function here. And now my engineers is turn on the dumping function. You may check here. Because now we have water inside it, so the dumping is not can go too far. And now we can test the reset function. Now the tank is reset to the correct place. Always make sure that when the tank is reset to the correct place, you should use the hydraulic down and hydraulic up function. And now the tank is reset to the correct place. Here you can also use the damping function and reset function here. You can test it. And then for the reset function, okay, and now the tank is into the correct place. Okay, and now we can test the heating function. When you want to use the heating function, make sure the jacket of the main tank is full of water, then you can use the heating function. And now we can turn on it here. And now the heating function is working, but it will take a long time, so we will not test it. Now we can turn off it. And for the temperature calibration, if the actual temperature you detect like is 25 degrees Celsius, but now the actual temperature is 23.5 degrees Celsius, you can collaborate here, like to make this like the 1.5 degrees Celsius to make sure that the temperature is correct. And now we can test the hydraulic down function of this machine. Make sure that this tank is in the correct place, and then you can turn on the button, hydraulic down, and yes. And you can check now this one is hydraulic down now. Okay. And the hydraulic down function will stop automatically. And now we can see the work light is on. And we can test it off. You can see here the light is off now. And it's very dark to see through the manhole. And then you can turn off the work light. And then you may see clearly inside the tank. Here you can check. And then we can check the oil ports and water ports monitoring. Here you can set the time like 1 minute for the oil port, 2 minutes for the water port. Then you may check the button here, open it. Then you may check here. Now the oil port is working. And it's like the main tank when the time is arriving to what you set, the dispersing function will stop automatically. And now we can turn off it manually. And now we can test the water port here. And the time will stop automatically when you arrive to 2 minutes, like we just said. And now we can turn off it. And turn off it here. And then the dispersing function is stopped. And then for the heating function, like we just said, the water tank and oil tank, our engineer has already put the heating transfer oil into it, so you can directly use the heating function. Make sure no let the water inside your water tanks and oil tanks jacket. And this collaboration is the same as I just said now of the main tank, and then we can test it here for the oil tank, the temperature, heating temperature here, can test it, and then can turn off it. And then for the water tank here, turn on the heating function here. And then if you don't want to use the function, turn off it. And when the temperature is arrived to what you set, the heating temperature function will stop automatically. Then turn off. Now we can manually turn off it. Okay. And it's the same for the oil tank, and the main tank is the same. When the heating temperature is arrived to what you set, it will stop automatically. And this is the end of the introduction of the 300-liter vacuum emulsifying mixer. Thank you.